My imaginary friend. When I was younger, around 3, my dad was walking our dog in a park. My dad's side of the family has always been sensitive to ghosts, so he could tell something was following him. But he didn't put much thought into it. He thought it was just a curious dog. When he got home, he had pretty much forgotten about it. However, 2 weeks later, my mom started complaining about feeling something in the basement, and a shadow on the wall following her. One that wasn't hers. And sure enough, soon I started hanging out with a little girl named Samantha. For a few weeks we played peacefully, and my dad didn't care. But one day, I started jabbering about how Samantha said she was going to burn our house down. My dad was worried, obviously that she might be a harmful spirit. So he went down to the basement to talk to her. As he did, he started to feel something behind him. He turned around, and a little girl of about 7 was behind him. She looked perfectly normal, but she had fire around her. I say fire because it wasn't really there, more like a ghostly image. She looked angry and walked off into the furnace. My dad was mad and concerned at this point, and forced the spirit out of the house. For a little while I was sad, but I quickly got over it. Since that time, I've never seen Samantha again. Noisy night. One night I was playing on my computer in my bedroom for some downtime. The door was open into the living room. I have the baby monitors on so I can hear the kids. My dog was sitting at my feet, and I'm checking my email. Everyone else is asleep. It's quiet, it's peaceful. Then suddenly the dog just starts barking like crazy at the doorway. The hair is standing up on her neck and she is staring at our open door, barking aggressively, but not moving. She looks scared. I get this feeling of dread, but when I look up I don't see anything in the doorway or living room from my computer chair, so I have no idea what she is barking at. I try to convince myself maybe she just heard something outside, but none of my other dogs are barking. They are all sound asleep. I can see them from where I am sitting. No reaction from any other pet. I try to get her to shush, but she just growls and barks. She is not backing down. She's just staring at the doorway. The barking wakes up my husband. He walks through the door to go see what is going on, but doesn't find anything. The dog stops barking as soon as my husband walks through the doorway. She cowers like she's afraid, hops on her bed, shivering and shaking, but doesn't bark the rest of the night. We check on the kids to make sure the dog didn't wake anyone up. Luckily, they were both asleep. My husband goes back to sleep and I finish checking my email. Not long after, I hear a male voice on the baby monitor say, "Whip her." It freaks me out, so I wake up my husband and tell him what I heard. We move the kids to our room and I say some prayers and nothing else happens. Ghost or nighttime sounds. Visitors in my bedroom. I have been sleep-talking practically since birth. My mother says I used to even giggle and babble when I was a baby before I could speak. I have also been caught on several occasions sitting up in bed talking to the wall as if I am in a discussion with someone. I've also jumped out of bed on all fours like a cat. These are common occurrences except for these 2 experiences I had a couple of years ago that I am not even sure what to call. It happened twice, where I would wake and sit up in bed and talk to something in my room. The difference is I remember all of it, and I remember what and who I was talking to. The first time it happened, I awoke with an annoyed and agitated feeling, knowing someone was in my room, and it was annoying me because I was trying to sleep. So I sat up, kind of strangely. I would rise like a vampire. I then scanned the room feeling a bit cranky, and in the opposite corner of the room, I either saw or felt that there was a dark shadow there. The room was dark, and I remember squinting a lot trying to see it clearly. I was a little scared, but honestly, way more annoyed. I just wanted to sleep. So I started yelling at it. "What are you doing? Go away! Leave me alone, I am trying to sleep!" I then scoffed angrily and grabbed a pillow and threw it at it, and then went back to sleep. The next day, my boyfriend asked me why I snatched the pillow he was sleeping on and threw it across the room in the middle of the night. I was surprised about the whole thing, as I could remember it all. It was like I woke up in a half-awake, half-asleep state, and I hallucinated. Then, 2 weeks later, it happened again. Only this time it reacted to me. I woke again in very much the same way, rose like a vampire, felt really annoyed this time, and I could sense someone jumping around my room. Imagine a younger sibling sneaking into your room and playing with your things while you sleep. To my left laid my boyfriend, and on the wall next to him is a window. The room is completely dark except for some light coming in from the street light. The light silhouetted our curtains in all its folds. In front of the curtains was the silhouette of a young boy about 7 to 10 years old. He was jumping around, waving his arms. He reminded me of Peter Pan's shadow, so I yelled at him, "What are you doing? Stop it!" He then stopped what he was doing, like as though I scared him. He raised his hands to his face and shook them, a bit like a cartoon character would do when scared. I continued to yell, "What are you doing? Stop! Go away!" He then stepped backwards against the wall, and he slid to the right. He went towards the curtains with his back against the wall still and his arms flat. He tried hiding himself in the folds of the curtains. He made his body as straight as possible with his arms down at his sides to make himself as small and slim so he could fit in the shadow of the fold of the curtain. I watched him shuffle into place. I felt like I couldn't see clearly. My eyes were the same as when you just wake up, so I was squinting a lot, but I could still get a good sense of his outline. So I said sternly, "I can still see you." I sat there for a moment watching, and after a moment I couldn't see him anymore, but I could still feel like he was there. Feeling too tired and annoyed, I just sighed and rolled over and fell back asleep. I know this was just like the last time when I actually woke up and spoke. I didn't dream a lot. I will add that I was under a lot of stress at the time and my living environment wasn't great. I have heard of someone who regularly wakes up to these things in their room, and they say it's a disorder. However, I haven't ever had an experience like this before.